What's up, guys? It's Drone Racing Academy here. DaemunFPV together with Invoke FPV. Good friend over here. Been racing together in practice for a long time. And for a long time, I've been giving him shit for using these eco motors and ragging on him, saying that he should move on to better motors. And he's had enough. So this is what we're going to do today. You want to just talk about why we're doing this?
So when everybody first starts in FPV, they want budget stuff. So they don't want to crash like $30 motors like he does. So I always went with ecos, and they've been great for me so far. I felt like they performed the same. And so what we're doing today is see if that's a good theory or not.
Yeah, so basically he's trying to challenge me to be able to tell if I can see if I can tell the difference between a budget motor, which we have here represented by the Eco, a mid-tier, which is the T-Motor Pacer. It's pretty nicely built, pretty excited for this. And lastly, the F33 rounds up the top tier. And the goal is to be able to see if I can tell what the differences are between these quads in the blind test. And the great part is these are his quads, they're built identically, so there's no semblance of like what quads I'm most used to. I'm not used to any of these, right? And how we're gonna do this is we're gonna do a blind test where I'm always gonna be wearing goggles, and the OSDs are set up the same on these. And what Invoke's gonna do is he's gonna show you which quad is on that run. We're gonna put it on a stand, I'm gonna fly it, and then I'm just gonna give a brief impressions, and then we're gonna fly a second quad, which could be the same quad or a higher tier or the other way around. And the idea is we're gonna fly 3 runs, 2 the same, 1 of the other. And the first test is, am I gonna be able to pick out which one is different? And the second test is, am I gonna be able to figure out which one is the better one?
We're gonna be doing it all on the Ghost, and this is the first time we're gonna be using it, so I don't know how that'll turn out. Maybe in another video, we'll do a comparison between pure race mode, which is the fastest response that Ghost has to offer, between a regular response, which is like 50 Hertz or something like that.
Very exciting.
Stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned from both of our channels for the Ghost comparison coming up after. So without further ado, we're gonna do this blind test. There's gonna be none of that bullshit about, you know, your preconceptions. Well, my preconceptions, because I'm just gonna say this one's the best. No, I'm just kidding. But no preconceptions. We'll see what we get out of this. Let's see you over there in the field. All right, let me start my power play, and then I'm gonna be goggles on and never taking it off.
Do you want to say anything else before your video?
I can't hear what you're saying, man.
Oh god, okay. That's good, because he has music on, so he can't hear the motors. So, okay, I'll be getting. Let's see. Let's use this one. We're gonna be doing the Pacers.
I'll put the headphones on after we start.
Okay, we're starting already.
Are we starting?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think I'll be able to tell the difference. I'm pretty sure I can. Let's find out. Alright, my headphones are back on, I can't hear you anymore. Yeah, the power is very different from my quads.
Invoke 19.2. Invoke 12.3.
Wow, well, video. All right, so that was the first motor. His KV's higher than what I typically run, so I'm kind of blowing a lot of stuff out. In general, though, pretty powerful. I think the ramp on moves still seems pretty fluid, so let's try the second one and see if it's any different.
Okay.
Invoke 47.3. Invoke 12.1. Invoke 11.2. Invoke
I'm at
12.1.
3.5 battery. I think I'm gonna come in after this lap.
You probably should. Okay, so go ahead.
So that was motor 2. I think that's different. So I'm gonna say 1 and 2 are different so far, and 2 felt a bit smoother to me. I felt more controlled. I don't know why, but I definitely felt more controlled. When I changed throttle, it responded smoothly, and I was able to do the ladder a lot easier. Whereas 1 was very powerful, but it felt kind of jumpy. So I want to say 1 and 2 are different now. So let's go for the third and see if I can figure out which one it is.
40.7.
Okay.
Invoke 11.8. Invoke 22.7. Invoke 11.1.
I felt more control in that one too. I want to say that's the same as motor 2, so 2 and 3 feels the same to me. But I want to request a rerun of 1, just because that was probably the first time I'm flying his quads, and his KV is different. Maybe I've just gotten used to the KV. So for now, I'm thinking 2 and 3 are the same, and I want to do a rerun of 1 to confirm that.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Invoke 12.3.
This is the pacer.
Invoke 12.4. Invoke 11.9. Invoke 11.2.
Oh, video issues. I'm coming back. Harder than that I thought. Okay. First run, I was totally out of control, but I think that's. Oh, I can check out this now. I think that's a big part of it. It's just I'm not used to his KV and his build. On second run, I got a lot more comfortable. I want to say the second run, the motors felt smoothest to me. Now between 3 and 1, I'm still going with 1 is different and 2 and 3 are the same. Somehow 3 doesn't feel as smooth as 2, but 1 just, even on the fourth run, it still felt different, like a bit more jumpy, and not as smooth. So I am sticking with 1 is different, 2 and 3 are the same, and I want to say 2 is the pacer. Well, I guess not. 2 and 3 is the pacer because it's smoother. But it's really hard.
But in terms of power, any other factors?
Yeah, what did you feel?
Okay, yeah, so power, I think the first one, it was very jumpy. So like I felt like there was more power on the top end. Whereas the second one, it was a lot smoother progression. It's a lot more linear. So, but I think the power overall, like total power output's probably about the same. Just somehow the first one just less controllable, right? It's not as linear, it just kind of jumps. And the third one, I felt somewhat close to the second. It wasn't as smooth though. The second one definitely felt smoother. I think it's hard to explain. Like the quad felt like it was a bit more locked. Felt like I could control it a lot better. What are the other elements you want to talk about?
So then what in terms of like factors, right?
Yeah.
So right now you're flying a transmitter that has very loose sticks.
Yes,
Very loose sticks
yes.
compared to what you're flying.
That's correct.
Right. So that's
The
preference at that point too, right?
Transmitter is completely different. Protocol is different running the Ghost. The quad weight is completely different from what I'm used to flying. Motor KV is different. So lots of different things are completely different. So definitely not used to any of these things, but
So
just
then you're
from a
saying
feel.
that the power output for both of those motors are exactly the same, but one just felt jumpy.
Yeah, I think maybe 1 has a bit more power, but definitely 1 felt jumpier to me.
Which one felt like it had more power?
Probably 1, but it's a slight difference because I really never really went all out, right? I didn't want to break your quad, so I rarely went full power. but from the stick range that I was using, I felt like one went higher, but it was very jumpy.
So you're saying that the one technically had a faster like ramp up power? Because when you're saying it's jumpy,
yeah,
right? Just
it's
to
more,
give a little bit more.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. It's less linear is how I would describe it, right? Like on 2, when I push up my throttle stick, I felt like the power increased linearly, whereas on 1, it was like I pushed up the sticks, it went like this, and it went boom, right? And I ended up blowing out a lot more elements than I would expect, right? For example, like when I'm approaching the ladder and I make a turn and I want to power up to get into the circle, on 1, when I power up, it just goes boom and just flies right off to the side, whereas on 2, I'm getting the power that I think I want, and I just keep making the circle.
It's the same rates across all of the quads, by the way.
That's right.
So if it's the same rate, so my question is, I guess, just to give a little bit more, right? You're saying linear, right?
Yes.
But could that also be conceived as less power, right? Because if it's the same rate,
it's
so you guys
possible.
are running about 0.45 expo, I think, on it. So you're gonna have mushy sticks towards like the beginning, and then when you hit that, it's just gonna jump up, right?
Yeah. So it ramped up more. Yeah, that's one way of saying it, I guess. It did kick in much more, and it surprised me. Like to the level where it surprised me, and
Right.
it made me blow out stuff. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if it's at 0.45, I mean, you're gonna get a, exponential just.
That's right.
It's
Yeah.
just gonna pop up really quick.
You're right. You're right.
At
Yeah.
a certain amount. So it depends on, and then this is quite technical in terms of the things that you guys are doing here. I mean, they're pretty fast straights, slaloms. I
Yeah.
said that word correctly.
Can I take off my goggles?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right. So, great questions, by the way.
Okay.
I'm sticking with it. One's different.
So what is
What's
one?
better?
What is one for you?
What's one?
Which motor
Yeah,
is
see,
one?
That one's hard, right? Because I felt like one had more power, but I felt 2 was smoother. So it could be that because there's less power, it made me feel like it's smoother. But in general, I felt like it felt smoother. The quad was a bit more locked. So I want to say 2 is the pacer.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 and 3 is pacer. 1 is the eco.
Okay.
All right. So honestly, though, way harder than I was expecting. Which one is 1, 2, and 3? I guess is the question.
So the prop is laying right in front of the quad. So
Yeah.
as soon
So-
as you stand up and turn around,
Yeah.
you should be able to see.
So pink is 1,
Pink is 1.
green is 2.
Pink is 1, green is 2. All
I'm
right.
not testing this one, so I'm just.
Yeah.
Pink is 1, green is 2. So if I was right, pink should be eco. Pink should be eco. Let's do this. Okay. Yeah, well, all right. So what was 3 though? About the
So
same.
the third one is also
Was
ecos.
also the eco. So I was right. So one is different, 2 and 3 are the same. So the question of whether or not you can tell a difference between different motors is confirmed, because I was able to tell which one was different from the other ones. Even though 2 and 3 are the same, I felt the 2 and 3 felt the same to me, and so I was able to tell that. The other part is I was not able to pick out which one was, I guess, the premium motor. I described the differences that's very real. Pacer definitely felt more powerful, but I felt the ecos were smoother. So I was wrong on that one. So to recap, I am able to tell a difference between the cheaper and the more expensive motor, but I got them backwards.
So which one would you use for a race?
Oh God! I guess I'll use the eco for it.
Okay then.
No, man, it's your rates. It's a whole combination of other stuff.
Everything is the same. Everything is the same.
Yes, yes.
That's not
Invoke,
true. That
this
is
is
not
like
true.
a liberating moment for you. I understand you've been advocating the ecos for a long time. I will eat my
It
words.
really
and
is
say,
not. This is a failed test.
Derek
This is an
FP
absolute failed test.
Derek F or what is it called?
DaemunFPV.
DaemunFPV is now sponsoring
Oh
Ecos.
my God.
No. Look, this is why this test is false. His running rates, I'm telling you, it's just a slower motor, so he felt like it was a lot more control just because of that reason.
But everything has been all of the motors output has been the same. It's been
It's
put down.
supposed to have been tuned to the
Supposed
same,
to.
which
Yeah.
does tell us that in the real world, the Pacer puts out more power than the Eco, even when you drop the theoretical KV. And so I was right in that there was more power on that side. I just could
Just
control
what
it.
he can do with it was a different thing. And I think that is not because of him not being an apt racer, it's because the setup is different. His regular quads are slightly heavier than this one here.
And lower KV.
Lower KV, he runs a different battery, which is actually a little bit heavier. So overall weight for his quads that he normally flies are higher.
Yeah.
Right, so that's a huge factor. The rates are exactly the same because you guys do fly the same exact rates, but I think those factors are completely different. Right? So
Yeah, it's a good roundup. Well, okay, so that was between the Eco and the Pacer. Now let's see if I can tell the difference between the Pacer and the 533. Am I good?
Yep.
Huh, cool.
Invoke 155.6.
seems like he's getting a little bit more control.
11.4.
All right, he's hitting it. We'll see about the ladder. Never mind. The ladder seems to be where he's crashing a lot. So anything with tighter control, he's overshooting the split S
15.5.
entries. Corkscrews, he's just generally really used to corkscrews, so that
and
seems to be the ladder.
he rode
I
the
think I
pole.
can take off.
Always ends with the
No,
crash
no,
with this
can't,
guy.
can't.
Always ends with the crash.
Yep.
Okay, you can. Let's do 3 taps as to take off your
Ah,
headphones.
cool. Thank you. Yeah, I feel this is pretty powerful. It was a little while since I've flown the Pacer, but just off of memory, this might be the 533. Obviously, we'll do another 2 more runs of either the 533 or the Pacer, and hopefully I'll be able to tell a bit more. But first impressions, pretty powerful. When I got it locked, it felt pretty good. I'm just not really used to that level of power. Linearity, it feels pretty linear actually. The power kicks in when I expect. It's just, it tops out so much higher than what I'm used to. So like on things like the ladder, I'm still having a lot of trouble locking that in. One thing I would say is this track is very tight, so I never really get to go full power. So like, it's hard for me to tell if this has more top end than the other. It's just more of based on acceleration and everything. So overall though, feels smooth, feels pretty good. We'll see what run 2 and 3 bring.
Cool.
Invoke 223.6.
Yeah, you can't really see it like visually from what we're seeing. Well, I guess you'll see the analog feed, but he definitely does seem a lot tighter here at
Invoke 11.7.
with these motors and this quad. I mean, you can tell his corkscrews are roughly about the same, but I think the main difference is definitely in the ladder and the split S. Split S entry is much tighter than it is with the previous quad. You can tell,
Ooh, flip that.
but still, you can tell on this video right here, the ladder is quite tight.
Invoke
Very
11.0.
consistent with this setup.
Yeah, pretty well.
Oh, no.
He's clipping things as he goes, but I mean, he's actually very consistent. You can tell he's getting more and more comfortable as the laps come by.
I'm done. Battery's done.
We're putting an eco.
Yeah, sure, dude.
Okay. The recording? All right.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely feeling that 2 is different from 1. I feel more controlled, still clipping things a lot, but in terms of throttle linearity, it reminds me more of the Eco, in that it was very linear, it's controlled, but this has more top end power than the Eco. This also felt very smooth. My quad feels pretty locked in, and for now, I would say I prefer this over 1. And then I guess the question is on run number 3, if I'm able to really tell the difference between the 2 guys, this might just be a placebo effect, right? So run 3 will confirm whether or not I can actually tell the difference between the 2 motors. And then the question of which one I prefer and which one I think is which.
We're actually gonna do 2 more runs.
2 more runs?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Wow, you guys are putting me on a ringer.
Yeah, man, you gotta get to know it. We don't want an excuse of be like, oh, I don't know this quad, or I don't know this setup. Oh, so far though, can you tell the difference between Ghost and regular?
Oh, that's a great question. Honestly, I haven't really been thinking about it, and
Does it?
I guess the fact that I'm not thinking about it and nothing feels off to me, one, at least proves that it's at least as good as Access, because if there's latency, I will be able to tell the difference. So for background, I usually use FreeSky Access. So I wasn't really trying to look for that, but I didn't feel any difference. So it's at least as good, maybe better, but that remains to be seen.
Okay. We'll do a comparison between the speeds later in another video.
Cool.
Headphones in, sir.
All right, headphones in. Thank you guys.
Is it music playing?
Music playing.
And this guy will
Can you
be,
hear me?
if this guy freaking trolls and has his music freaking off right now, I'll be so angry.
Right. Do you really like being our friends? Okay. You could be pretending. I don't know. Alrighty. Bonus round. Well.
This guy, if this guy is cheating, man, I swear.
Alrighty, run number 3. Let's go.
Invoke 251.6.
Yeah.
Let's wait till he gets his bearings. It's coming in.
Invoke
His split S looks
11.7.
roughly about the same. Corkscrews.
Nope.
Ladder entry was overshot a little bit. Very
Hesitation.
quickly recovers right there. Nice succession.
Invoke 13.0.
Looking pretty consistent.
Yeah, it's
here.
very tight corkscrews.
That one out.
He's overshooting some of the ladder stuff, but I think it's just a general mistake rather than anything related.
12.3.
Seems like he overshot the entry to the corkscrew. Might be a lack of power. That could be.
Here.
Invoke 15.0.
Ooh, dang.
Sorry. Wow. All right, I think the battery's almost done. Let's call that. I'm gonna take off my headphones. Yeah. Cool. All right. So impressions. 3 and 1 are the same. I think 2 is different. 3 and 1 are the same. How I would describe it is, even though they're supposedly running the same rates, the way 1 and 3 feels like is more twitchy, and it feels like I'm flying higher rates. I think that's got to do with linearity of throttle. So like if your throttle curve is not linear and it's this bit of kind of expo to it, it will make you feel like you're flying different rates even when you're not, right? So definitely something to get used to. Good amount of power. I can feel that right off the takeoff. When I put it up, it just pops right into the air. So definitely very powerful. In terms of top end power, I think they actually come somewhat close. Linearity, number 2 wins. In terms of pure power, about the same. Both feel pretty smooth. My preference right now is number 2.
Okay. All right. Headphones back on.
Cool. I'm gonna do a 4th run just because these guys wanna give me a hard time.
Music on?
Goggles back on.
All right. So 1 was actually the pacer. This one here.
Yeah. So this is number
As you
1.
can tell, we
Yeah.
haven't replaced the props just yet, but we're
Yeah.
about to do that.
Yeah.
The second one that he ran were these ones, where he was a lot more consistent on this one.
He says this one is smooth.
He said it was this one smooth. Overall, even right now, he said that this one was his favorite. We did throw in a mixer towards the end, and we slapped the Ecos back in. But he described the Ecos as being very similar to 1 and 1. And 1 in this case was the Pacers. So, which is interesting because the previous test, he ran against the Pacers and the Ecos. So I don't know at what point this felt like it was a lot more power and it wasn't as linear. But that's what's been said.
Should we do this again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
This is the 4th run, right? It's the 4th run.
All right.
You're actually gonna do one more run after this.
One more run after this.
One more run after
Jesus,
this. We're
5?
gonna try to get the most definite answer, right? So I think this is gonna be crucial for kind of the testing purposes of it.
Okay.
So this is the one right here, and then you have one after this.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go. I'll put it back on.
right, back in the air.
125.0.
Swung wide on that split S right there. Makes that forward at the corkscrew. Ladder seems pretty tight right here. He's hugging the pole. Coming in, let's see what he does with the split S here. Seems a little wide again. Corkscrew, he did overshoot. Ladder was tight, but he ended up hitting the ground.
Feeling slightly different as well.
Oh wait, sorry. Can you say that again? It didn't record for some reason.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so this was the fourth run, and honestly, I'm a little bit confused. I don't think this is the pacer because it didn't feel like 1 and 3. Probably feels closer to 2, and the problem is I flew 2 a while ago, and my memory is a bit hazy on that now. I think in terms of linearity, it feels somewhat close to 2, but somehow the power I'm getting seems different. So I'm a little confused. I would say probably a 2, but a bit confused.
Okay, we'll do one more with another motor,
Okay,
and then we'll see.
cool.
All right, back on. Music.
Last run of the day.
Whoa, hello.
So as soon as he lifted off, he actually
531.0.
exploded into the air, probably about 6 or 7 feet off of it, which normally he would be traveling forward, but he did pop up. Let's check everything else here. Seems pretty smooth on the slalom, very tight on the split S, or tighter. Check the ladder. He's very, very tight enough to clip the gates. Quad seems okay. Again, the split S entry, he overshot the exit, but the entry was actually quite good. It almost seems like he's clipping the gate just because he's able to get so much tighter on the ladder. And it's like the difference between the quad itself. Now he just ended up on the gate. But the entry would have been good if he made it.
Yeah. Okay, we have to go get it.
How are we looking?
I think I'm down.
Okay.
Got earphones off?
Yeah. Okay, so what's up? So are we done with this motor or you want more?
I am done.
Okay.
Very confused. I still want to say 1 and 3 is the most different. And probably the pacer. 2 and 4 felt similar power-wise. Somehow 2 and 4 felt a bit looser. I don't know why. But 2 and 4 are... Sorry, 2 and 5. Sorry.
Okay.
Cut.
You did actually say 2 and 4 is similar.
Yeah, we do. Okay.
Okay.
So, all right. A little confused right now. I still want to say 1 and 3 are very different. So 1 and 3 are probably the pacer, just based on the first test that we ran. 2, 4, and 5 feel closer, but somehow they feel a little different. I want to say power-wise, 2 and 5 felt about the same, but somehow 5 felt a bit looser. Perfectly honest, I'm probably finding so many different setups that I'm just getting all messed up in my head. But 2 and 5 felt similar power-wise, but 5 felt a little bit looser. 4 felt somewhat similar in terms of kind of tightness, but it didn't get as much power out of that for some reason. So I don't know what's going on. But if I were to say, I'm gonna say that 1 and 3 is the pacer, 2, 4, and 5 probably the same, and they're probably the 533. 4 felt like it was weaker, 5 felt a little looser, but not to the level that I think they're the pacer. So 1 and 3 pacer, 2, 4, 5 probably 533, but 4 felt weird.
Okay.
Okay, so just that last part right there, okay?
Yeah.
Just because I'm recording it. I'm saying that on this test run here, 2, quad 2, quad 4, quad 5 felt very similar. Correct?
Yes.
But you mentioned that 4 felt different.
4, yeah,
Slightly different.
If I summarize, 1 and 3 felt the most different. They're very jumpy, a lot of power. Reminds me of the pacer from run 1, so just off of memory, I want to say 1 and 3 is definitely the pacer. 2, 4, 5 felt similar in that the throttle linearity was close. It's not jumpy. It felt pretty controlled. Still a good amount of power. So 2, 4, and 5 are probably the same, and I'm guessing that's a 533. The only weird part that confused the shit out of me is that 4 felt controlled, but I don't know, I wasn't getting the same pop. So like, I don't know what happened. Maybe it's the battery?
So you're saying 4 is different?
four felt a little different. Might be the battery, maybe. But
Okay.
I've also flown a lot of different quad setups, like I'm
Yeah.
a little messed up right now.
Got it. But no, that's an excellent point. So 4 felt different to you.
Yes.
It had a lot of similarities
It's a lot
between
of
2, 4, and
similarities.
5, but you
Yeah.
weren't getting as much pop.
Not
is-
as much
is
pop,
the-
yeah.
the
Like,
word that you chose.
yeah, and it's just on takeoff. Like I could feel like, you know, 2 and 5 would just blast off into the air, whereas 4, for some reason, power-wise, felt a little less. So maybe we're running a bunch of. I mean, they're all the same batteries, but I guess maybe one's older. I don't know.
All right.
No, we all purchased them at the same time. This is a very, very stringent test.
Okay.
Okay, so please.
All right. We're gonna set up the reveal. Just
All right.
sit tight.
Okay.
So this test actually was super, super interesting, and I think it was great that, you know, we suggested that we slept back the ecos in there, because it really did. Initial testing, when we first added the ecos in, and second testing, the test was kind of all over the place. But from the last, maybe I should unplug this. The last one that he ran was the 533. When we added that back in, he did say, because initially, right, because he mentioned that 2, 4, and 5 felt very similar, right? The number 2 here in this case was the 533, the second quad he flew. The 4th one he flew was actually the Eco, and then the 5th one was also the 533. But the main difference here is he felt that they were similar in regards to like linearity of like the quad itself and the power it accesses. But he also did mention that 4 felt similar but didn't have enough pop, is what he said, which we could probably conclude that it's power related, right? So that seems interesting, because at first it felt like we were mixing things up, and now it almost feels like you can feel the difference. So the question whether something is better than the other, I think it's further
Yeah.
testing, but
Yeah.
I would think
Yeah.
you could tell.
Yeah, you can tell.
yeah, but-
Okay, so
So we ran various motors. They're marked with props. So
Can I take off my headphones?
no, yeah, sure.
Take off the headphones?
I don't know, whatever.
Whatever. All right. So when we're here, basically we're classifying how, for example, this one here only has one prop here, so it's only part of that one run.
So it's run 1,
Run 1 here,
and this one is part of run 3 and 4.
run 4. This one here was part of run 2, or flight number 2, run 2, and then 5. 2 and 5.
Okay, that should be good. All right, go
Ready
for it.
reveal?
All right, let's see.
Wait, what? What?
So you're saying
So-
run 1 and 3 is the same, right? So this is run 1
Okay, now I'm very confused.
and
This is run 3.
3.
So basically, essentially what you said was
I thought
Pacers
we were just doing
and
Pacers
Ecos.
and 533s.
We wanted to throw it in there and see if you're full of BS. But so you ran 1 and 3, right?
Okay.
So you signified that you felt that Pacers and Ecos were roughly about the same, which contradicts the first test. But it's interesting because we're gonna keep going, right? So the Pacers you only ran 1 time,
Yeah.
right? So this one, the Ecos were also part of run 4, right? Where you ran
Okay.
4, and
Yeah,
then
that four
for the
was
533s, you ran the second one and the 5th one.
So you
Okay.
you also said the 533 is similar to the Ecos.
Yeah.
But interesting, because we wrote this down. You said 2, 4, and 5 felt the same, felt very similar.
Yeah.
But you felt a difference with 4.
Yeah.
So in this case, you felt a difference with this one.
Yeah,
here.
so I felt that had less power. I thought it was a battery thing. Because the whole time I thought we were only testing 2 quads. So like, so that's interesting. So basically, the 533 and the Ecos felt similar, but the Ecos felt less powerful. The one that I got wrong between the Pacer and the Eco is 1 and 3. That's interesting. Okay. So generally speaking, you can still kind of tell, but like honestly, when you fly 5 packs back to back, you get so confused.
No, but I think this is still a really good test.
Yeah,
because
okay, that's
when we-
cool. All right,
when
so
we
you
added
guys
in
threw
the
me a
Ecos-
curveball.
Yeah, when we added in
Yeah.
the Ecos, you were
Yeah.
able to determine, right? So the
Yeah.
different motors are made to different spec, right?
That's
so
right.
the overall
Yeah.
thing seems to be that the Pacers felt jumpy to you, regardless, right?
Yeah, Pacer
And
is
this
always jumpy. Yes.
Yeah, and this is after more and more packs, right? So it's not
Yeah.
like your initial testing, right? You ran quite a few, flights, right?
Yep.
So the Pacers always felt consistently kind of jumpy, right?
Yeah.
Except when you said it was similar to the Emax.
That's
so
right.
that just might
That
be the
was-
run. That you had.
Yeah, it's possible. But generally speaking, I do feel the Pacers were jumpy, not as linear. 533s felt good in terms of linearity. There's good power. Perfectly honest, I like the 533 the most. And then it's probably the Ecos.
So Ecos over Pacers.
For the Pacers. The Pacers, honestly, it hit a lot of power, but it's just so jumpy that it's hard to control, and I felt like I had to work really hard to keep it going where I want it to go. I'm sure with enough practice with it, I'd probably be able to do it, but it's not worth it, right? But I think the one thing I would take from this too is don't keep switching your gear. If you check out my 7 tips for flying FPV racing in my channel, one of my tips is that don't switch your gear over and over. Don't keep chasing stuff. I think this proves it, because halfway through the runs I felt pretty good, and then the quad changed again and I'm kind of all over the place. It's most obvious in the ladder. When I'm not getting the power that I think I'm getting, I crash, right? That's what happens. And when you keep switching gears, yes, you can kind of get used to it, and maybe you can get better at adapting to different gears, but honestly, it took so much work for me just to get the quad not crashing. It's not worth it. Thanks for sticking with us for so long, guys. I know it's been a long video, but we want to be very thorough about testing these motors to make sure we can answer the questions definitively. 1, can you tell the difference between different types of motors? I think we've proven that we can. Made a few mistakes here and there, but they definitely felt very different. 2, is more expensive necessarily better? I don't think that's the answer. Each motor felt very different. You've got to test for yourself what works best for you. What works for me might not work for you, but you can take my impressions from this for what it is. So this has been DaemunFPV with Invoke FPV, a partnership that we're bringing to you this test. Please also subscribe to both of us and subscribe to Drone Racing Academy, where there's going to be a lot of videos to teach you how to fly, as well as other reviews like this. Going forward, our next video, we're going to talk about the Ghost. Ooh. It's very hyped right now. We're going to do a blind test similar to what we did today to see whether or not the Ghost is worth the hype. There's a lot of videos out there about range and penetration, but we want to bring in a racer's perspective of, is the latency actually different? Can you feel it? And is it better than Crossfire? Is it better than Free Sky Access? And also the different modes within the Ghost itself, is it actually different? So stay tuned, please subscribe to both of us, and have a great day flying. Peace out.
Peace.